Hey guys. Okay, nobody wants as a teacher to have to start their first day of school on WebEx, but here we are again. I met most of you when we were here in Camp Collegiate, and I'm so sad that I can't be there with you today, but even though this is going to be a long video, I'm hoping that you can still kind of see my face and that I can see your face when we come back on Wednesday or on Monday, sorry, and give you all the same things that you would want to know. So first of all, welcome to Collegiate Academy. If you have me for first period, I know this is your first kind of real class here. We are on a college setting, but I am so happy to have you here. I met every single one of you at Camp Collegiate, so you all have seen my face, I have seen your face, and I look forward to making sure I can still remember your names when I come back. But just a little bit as you guys come on in, I'm going to talk through some procedures about who I am, what this class is going to look like, how grades work in my class because it is a start class, but it's going to look a little bit different than what you've been used to in a math class. And then we're also going to talk about what Thursday and Friday are going to look like because my whole house has COVID. And so this is the best that we can do. So be patient with your subs. This is not obviously the best case for anybody. And I promise I will be back there as soon as I am cleared to and symptom free. So I'm going to go through kind of procedures in my class for just a moment. Whoever my sub is, can you guys do me a favor? In the back, behind the poster that says Invisible Math, there's cardboard boxes on the floor. Back there in those boxes is a workbook for each student. I'm going to ask that you open up those boxes while I'm talking. Don't pass them out to students until I say so, though. But just go ahead and get that box open because I haven't had a chance to be back to do that, okay? Awesome. So as you were coming in, hopefully the sub kind of introduced you over here. There's a phone pocket. So every single day when you guys come in, you have a number assigned to you. That number is going to be your number the entire year because you're going to have me the entire year. So when you come in, that's where your phone pocket goes. Let's say you don't have your phone that day, but you usually have a phone. You're just going to take your number and turn it around because that's what I use to take attendance. So the phone goes in front of the number. If I can't see number one, then I know person number one, Joshua, he's here today. But if I can see number one, I'm going to mark Joshua absent. So again, if I don't have a phone, just turn the number around. I provided 10 different chargers. So there's 5 for like the Android C ports and 5 for the Apple phones. Those chargers are mine. They do not travel with you. But you're always welcome to leave your phone in here and charge if we're going to lunch or going to the bookstore or something like that. You can always leave your phone in here to charge if you'd like. So that's kind of the first thing that you're going to do when you come to my room. Second thing we're going to do when you come into my room is I take attendance the second way, kind of not really attendance, but check in with you each day is going to be via question. So the way I like to do that, and I mentioned Joshua already, so I'm going to pick on Joshua again. If I was there, he's the first one on my alphabet, so I would say, "Good morning, Joshua." And he would say, "Good morning, Miss Fuller." And he's going to ask me a question. Joshua may have had a rough weekend or he's not really awake. He might just say, "Good morning, Miss Fuller, how are you?" And I would say, "Good morning, Joshua. I'm doing great. How are you?" I'm going to ask him the exact same question back. And that's the end of the communication. He's going to say, "I'm fine." If that's all he wants to talk about, that's awesome. But if I pull somebody else in here, let's see who else is in our class. Sarah. So let's say I come in and Sarah had a great weekend. She got a new dog. She might say, I say, "Good morning, Sarah." She's going to say, "Good morning, Miss Fuller. What did you get this weekend?" I'm going to be like, "I got COVID. What did you get this weekend?" She's going to be like, "I got a puppy. He's so cute. He's excited. His name's Spot, blah, blah, blah." She can tell me whatever she wants to tell me about. But you guys will decide the question. So if you're not feeling like talking, you can do something simple like, "How are you?" If you feel like telling me something, ask me a question that lets me ask you the same thing. So that'll be kind of how we start every class. Going into a few things about me because I can't ask you those questions today. Obviously, my name is Tori Fuller. This is my 11th year in the district and my 3rd year in GCISD. I was over at Colleyville Heritage for 8 years before that. Let's see if I hope the video will show when I try to share real quick. But let me see if I can show you a couple things. If you just see my face, then ignore this. If you can see the pictures, then I'll show you from here. So this is me, obviously. This is my husband, Derek. We met doing CrossFit, and we've been married for almost 3 years now. And that's my little boy. I know he looks giant. He is only 1. And he just turned 1, like he's a fresh one. His birthday's on Cinco de Mayo, and his name is Daxton. So that's a little bit about me. I live in Euless and I love teaching at Collegiate Academy. We'll talk about quizzes here in just a minute, but I wanted to go back for a second. A little bit about why I love teaching. My why is that I think that my purpose is to inspire everybody and help them find their strength. So I think a lot of people come into math class and maybe they've never passed math, or maybe they've never passed a star. And I think that everybody can be great at math. Not everybody is going to be amazing. Not everybody has the want to be an A student, but everybody can do math. And every one of you can pass the star. That I can promise. We are going to get there hand in hand all the way to May. If you are like, oh, I'm not great at math. I've never passed a math star. There's no way I'm going to pass this year. Find a sophomore. Find a sophomore who is in the same boat as you and ask them. Ask them what they did, ask them how they were successful, and then ask them if they passed. We were 100% last year. Every single sophomore, no matter what their math skills were before they got here, passed star. We will get there. As long as you partner with me and I'm working it as hard as you're working, we can get there. Okay? So that's a little bit about my why. I think most of you, when I met you at Collegiate Academy, I asked you, why are you here at Collegiate? You could have gone to Grapevine, you could have gone to Colleyville. Why come here? And we heard a variety of things. Some people said that they were the first one in their family to have a chance to go to college. I think that's great. There were some people who said, oh, my older sister came here and she loved it. Or I don't know, my mom just saw the pamphlet and filled the interview out for me, and she told me I have to go here. And that's fine too. But I want to make sure that the reason that you're here is for you to be successful, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to help you get there. So let's talk about what class looks like. Substitute. If you could, please go ahead and pass out those workbooks right now. And while they are coming around, if I can get all of you to get out your computers and open up Canvas. Okay. Substitute. Why don't you ask a student to go up to the presentation station and just pause this video for a second. Okay, we should be pressing play when everybody has a book and everybody has a computer out. Are we there? If not, pause again. Okay, hopefully everybody has a workbook and everybody has their computer at least out. If you're still trying to open it up, that's fine. But please keep on listening while you're trying to get your computer to power up. I know this might be first period. This might be the first time that we're doing this, and that's okay. If you can't get your computer open, just like logged in or anything, just hang tight. I promise you we'll get you. You're just listening for today, okay? There's nothing you have to complete, all right? Okay, with your workbook, you'll notice that on the front cover, there's plastic. This is to protect your book, so make sure that whenever you're done working in here, you're going to close this. Can I get everybody with a pencil to write your first and last name, what you prefer to be called? So if you told me you go by Bella instead of Isabella, make sure you write that. If you told me you go by Echo, write that. If you told me you go by, what are my other names? Trying to think if there were other people who go by something different. I think there's 2 or 3 more. If you go by something other than what is your like Skyward name, put what you go by and your last name for me, please. Okay? Awesome. Everybody should have done that now. So let's talk about what this is. This is a workbook. This is literally Miss Fuller for the last 6 years has been working on a Microsoft document, turned it into a PDF, and then went to a printing company and got it spiral bound for you. This is your entire first semester. When you're like, holy cow, we have to do all that? Yeah. But instead of having packets and instead of having to turn in work and instead of having to have a review or lose your notes from Unit 1 when it comes time for final exams, yes, we have final exams, all of that's going to be in one place for you. So the only 3 things you have to bring to class every day is your workbook and then your laptop and your charger. That's all you need for my class. Anything else is going to be in my room, like headphones or pencils or pens, highlighters, whatever. So this is your workbook. This is literally all of your work, all of your grades, all of everything that you're going to have from me other than quizzes and tests. Okay. So obviously that I'm going to hang on to. So if you want, I'm going to give you 1 minute. I want you to flip through this because everybody's going to want to do that and you're not going to listen. So take 1 whole minute. I'm going to just count. Go ahead. It's not awkward. Just flip through it. It's fine. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I'm going to have you stop flipping through and put your eyes back up here for a second. Let's talk about a couple pieces of the book so that you know what the purpose of it is when we get there. Okay, going through here. First thing you're going to notice is your syllabus, right? Syllabus, just like a book syllabus, you've got exactly what you're going to find in the book. So if you're like, where's the 3.4 homework at? Open it up. 3.4 is going to be on page 85. Okay, quick reference. Obviously, the numbers go in order, so you can always flip through it like that. Second thing you're going to want to find is your syllabus. We are going to have a chance to go over that. I'm going to talk about the quizzes and the tests and how those things work, how late work works in just a second. But this is pretty much what we just talked about as far as like supply list and my expectations. Okay. All right, next page is all about me. So there's a few things about me. If you care to read that, do that later. I'm not that exciting, so you don't have to look through that right now. The calendar, so this is your first 9 weeks, second 9 weeks. You'll notice it's blank. We will map this out kind of like one unit at a time. I used to do the full calendar and staple it in there, but things change and, snow days and COVID and whatever. And sometimes that just isn't consistent. So I wanted to kind of give you a place to write in here so that you're like, I have to test by this day. I need to do my quiz by this day. This is when a retest is due or whatever. Okay. This is one of our most important pages. So this is your grade tracker. You'll notice in here that we have 5 units for first semester, but this unit is broken into 2 pieces. So we're going to actually have 6 tests in the first semester. Okay. In unit 1A, you're going to have 1 quiz and then we'll take a test. 1B, we'll have another quiz and then take a test. So 2 tests for unit 1. And that's because I don't ever think that you should have 1 grade making up 30%. We'll talk about percents, but 30% of your average. That's too much weight for one single day, one single score. Okay. Unit 2 has 1 quiz also, but when we get to unit 3, there's going to be 2 quizzes and then a test. Unit 4, 2 quizzes and then a test. Unit 5, 2 quizzes and then a test. And your final exam will obviously be at the end of the year. Okay. So this is your grade tracker. The way that we'll use this is if you look in the back, I think that direction, back by where the bookshelf is, we're going to have emails. And so we'll all send an email on Friday. Everybody will send their first email. It's a template. It's already in Canvas. You're fine. We'll just copy and paste it in there. But what that email does is it comes from you. You will be emailing your parents. I will email about like calendars and fall festivals and stuff like that have to do with the school. But as far as where your grades are at, when you have things coming up, if you need to retest or if you got your first A on a quiz, that's coming from you. You're reporting your own accomplishments and your own mistakes in my class. So let's say we all take our Unit 1 test. We're all going to send an email. I'll meet with you one-on-one to go over your test with you. And you'll send a parent email that says, we took the Unit 1 test, I got an 85. Great, that's it. That's all the email says. But that email, I'm copied on it. It's between you and your parents. Okay, so that's a reply all back and forth. I see what's going on. I don't usually contribute to it unless they have a question or you have a question. But that's a communication back and forth for you guys for accountability. Let's say you take the Unit 1 test and we get a 62. Obviously, you're going to need to retake that. So your email would say exactly what the template back there on the orange sheet says is we took the Unit 1 test. I got a 62. I understand that I need to retest. I have to do this by Friday or whatever. They're quick emails. You will have one email thread. So we don't make new emails every time. You'll have one email thread all the way through the entire year or all the way through the first semester. We'll make a new one for second semester. And that way, if you're like, oh, I don't remember what my test score was, open your email. You can see all of it. Another thing we would use emails for is anytime you forget to do your homework. So we'll talk about what homework looks like in my room. It's very different than what it looks like in other classes. But let's say you show up without your homework. You're going to send an email, and that lets you use the late grade. So if you show up without your homework, you're going to take a 0. I'm going to put a 0 on the grade book. And then you're going to send an email that says, for homework, we were supposed to complete the 5.1 notes. I didn't complete them because I forgot, or because I left my laptop at school, or because I thought I had time to do it in the morning and I didn't, or whatever the reason. My dog died. I don't know. You'd say, I forgot to do 5.1 notes because my grade was a 0. And that You taking ownership of that is what's going to let you redo it. So then you're going to watch the video, you're going to make up the grade, and then you can continue on. But you are going to have to own up to the fact that you missed it, why you missed it, and what the consequence was of that in order to have a chance to make it up. Okay. The expectation in my class is that every single assignment is a 100. Every single assignment, because you're going to work on it until it's a 100. We're going to go in order. Every single problem in this entire book is going to be perfect. Perfect. Every single question. No, I'll correct it later. No, well, can I just take a 60? Well, can I just take a 70? We give hundreds. Every single question has to be done. Every single question has to be right. That's the expectation. And we will all pass this class and we will all pass STAR. But that's the clear expectation. I'm trying to think. Another time we'd send an email is, let's say you always get like 60, 70s on quizzes and tests and you pull an 81. I'm going to say, you want to send a brag email? Get your book out, Sarah. Let's send a brag email. You're going to send a very brief message that says, Miss Fuller asked me to send a brag email because I got my first B on a quiz. Let's celebrate together. That's all it's going to say. Something brief and short that says what you accomplished also. Just like you own your failures, we're all going to celebrate your successes because that's why we're here. So that's a little bit about the grade tracker. Everybody had their computer out. So let's take a quick gander, and you can look in Canvas with me if you're already there, or you can just look at my screen. I think I can turn this around. Let me see. Be patient with me. Sorry, guys. Chrome share. This one. Okay. Hopefully you can see this. Again, if you're just staring at my face because this video doesn't work that way, then I'm really sorry. But hopefully you can see this. So when we're working in the book and we're working in our Canvas, here's how they partner together. Obviously, this first module is a welcome module, but this is part of what you guys are going to be doing on Thursday. We're going to do a screener. Our beginning of the year screener is basically an 8th grade Algebra 1 kind of combination test. I think it's 20 or 25 questions. It was 20 last year. They might change it. I'm unsure. But it comes from the district, and basically what it is doing is seeing where you're at. How much do you remember from 8th grade? How much do you already know about algebra so that I can meet you where you are? My class is flipped and self-paced. So we're going to talk a bit about what that means. I'm going to go ahead and open this page. Hopefully you can see it. You can either open it with me or you can just look up here. But basically what it's doing is it's comparing a normal math class to a flipped math class, okay? Normal math class is what I taught for about the first 5 years I was teaching. That's where, me as a teacher, I'm standing up at the board. I probably have it projected. I've got a dry erase marker or a tablet that I'm writing on. And I'm having you copy the definitions with me. I'm writing out problems and we work them together. And I'm like, does anybody have any questions? And you're like, yeah, I don't understand how you did this. And I'm like, okay, let's go over it again. And at the end of a class, I'm like, okay, so here's your worksheet. You all have 20 minutes. Let's go ahead and get started. And I might help a couple people who are having trouble getting started. They're like, I don't understand any of this, blah, blah, blah. And then we run out of time and I'm like, okay, finish the rest of those problems. They're due tomorrow at the beginning of class. The next class, you show up and let's say somebody doesn't have their assignment done. They're like, I had no idea how to do this. I did the 2 that she helped me with in class and the rest is just blank. I don't know how to do it. Or somebody shows up and they're like, I did every problem. I was up till 11 o'clock at night. I did everything. My mom helped me. And every single question on that paper is wrong. Okay. Those are worst case scenarios for me. So I got the scissors and I just cut that out. We're not going to do that. So what we're going to do is a little bit different. It's called a flipped classroom. If you've never done a flipped, it means that notes are done outside of class or at the end of class, like a homework, and the practice problems are what you use me for. So here's what a typical day in our class is going to look like. You're going to come in. I'm going to say, all right, notes for 1.1 are due. So let's say this is next Tuesday. Notes for 1.1 are due. Everybody flip to, let's see what page that would be. Everybody flip to page 13. Show me your notes. I'm going to walk around the room. I'm going to put a 10. A 10 is my 100. So I'm going to put a 10 on everybody's paper who's done. Let's say, let's see who else we got in class. I can pick on some other people. Let's say Olivia and Zoe. Let's say Olivia did the first page, but she didn't know there was a back page, so she never did the rest of it. I'm going to put a 5 on her paper. Let's say Zoe was absent, so she didn't even know that there was an assignment. I'm going to put a 0 on her paper. Zoe, don't have a meltdown. Okay, it's okay. That 0 is not permanent, remember? All you're going to do is send an email. Okay, so Olivia and Zoe, I'm going to say, hey, anybody who didn't do their notes or doesn't have a 10, go ahead and get out your computer, pull up your parent email, send a quick email. Now, they're not going to argue with me. We're not going to debate, but miss, I didn't have, no, because I'm going to let them do it. In 15 minutes, everybody's going to have a 100. It's not going to be any big deal. And we're all going to move forward because we're all going to get hundreds. That's the point, right? Okay, so Zoe and Olivia are going to pull out their computers. Olivia's is going to say, for homework, we had to complete 1.1. I didn't get it done because I didn't know there was a back page. My score was a 5. Zoe's email is going to say, for homework, we had to do 1.1 notes. I was absent, so my score was a 0. I'm going to put those grades on a sheet of paper. And then when they go back and finish their notes, they're going to watch the video right there in class. Even though they didn't do it for homework, they're going to watch it right there in class. And as soon as they're done, they show me. And I change the grade to a 100. That's it. Email lets you make it up to 100. And that's it. Okay? Everybody else already had their notes done, so we're moving forward. What we're going to do for the entire next rest of class. So if you're in first period, it might only be 40 minutes. If you're in my 5th period, it's going to be more like an hour. If you're in 6th period, it's going to be like 40 minutes again. But the whole rest of class, you're working on the practice. So 1.1, we're going to work on the practice. I'm going to come around the room and I'm going to check off every single problem. You're going to have to show every bit of work. If you have right answers but no work, I can't check it off. So we're going to circle through that. I'm literally going to just make laps around the room. You'll notice in most of these classes that you are sitting around the outside and very few people are sitting at tables. I think only in my 5th period is anybody sitting in the tables. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give feedback. Let's say I get to the point where there's only 5 people that are left working on it. I'm going to invite you all up to one table. We're all going to sit at one table and work on it together. And until every single person is done, we're going to do that practice. And that's going to be done in class. You will never, ever be asked to complete an assignment outside of class other than a video. So the only thing you do for homework is watch a video and copy it down. That's it. Okay? Watch, listen, and copy. You do need to be listening to them. So let's say we work really hard, and let me pick somebody in 5th period now. Let's say, who's in this class that no. Kira. Okay, I'm gonna pick on Kira because she was in my my camp collegiate group. Okay, so let's say Kira is working really, really hard, but maybe she got called to the office and she wasn't able to finish because she missed like 15 minutes of class. She's not going to have time to finish and get her full 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a grade on her practice problem. Maybe she only got 7 done. I'm going to put a 7. That's a 70. Now, she's not done with it. That's where we're going to pick up tomorrow. So every single person, you're getting every question right on every single problem in this entire book. If you don't, what that means is I'm going to grade what you have at the end of the class that's due. And then we're going to move forward. And the next day in class, I'm going to say, hey, do you have your video done? Yes, ma'am. I put 100 on it. We're going to go back and we're going to finish those last 3 questions she didn't have time to do. And then we're going to move forward on today's assignment. Now, sometimes that spirals a little bit out of control. That's when we're back in tutorials. And there will be times that if you're in a club and you have some missing grades from me, I am going to pull you. There's going to be times where you're absent and I am going to pull you from a tutorial. There might be times where you guys aren't, maybe you're just working on general college classes and pathways, and I might invite you over to work on something with me during extra time in there or something else. Because my class is also self-paced. So let's talk about that for a second. Self-paced means that you will not necessarily be working on the same thing that your table partner is working on. You might not be working on the same thing that anybody in the room is working on. You might be able to finish this entire book before Thanksgiving. You might barely be able to finish this book by Christmas. You are at your own pace because you have the right to work at your speed. I grade on my calendar. So for instance, let's say I said on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we're going to turn in the 1.1 notes and we're going to do the 1.1 practice. Now, let's say over the weekend, you had already watched those notes and you actually did 2 practices on Monday. Maybe you were like, I don't want to have homework at all this week. I'm going to watch 5 videos over the weekend, so I don't have to do any homework at all this week for math. And that way I can just do practices in class. And you got 2 practices done on Monday, because you're really good at math. Maybe you got 2 practices due on Tuesday, and then you took a quiz and a test on Wednesday. The whole class isn't even supposed to test until next week, but you've already tested. We do not all test at the same time. You test when you're ready or on the calendar day. That's how it works. So if you were behind, you do have to stay on calendar for quizzes and tests, and you guys will have that calendar. But you can always work ahead. Some people like to work ahead so that if they're struggling with something, they always have more. So, for instance, if you're really good at solving equations, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4 might be all really, really easy to you. But you might work on those fast so that when you get to 1, 5 and 1, 6 and we have word problems, maybe now you could spend 2 days doing that lesson instead of just 1 day. You play around with how fast or how slow you work. However, the grades are based on the calendar. So if I say 1.3 is due at the end of class and you don't get done with it, it's a 0. It's a 0 until you make it up in a tutorial or you make it up the next class. Okay? Obviously, you guys are going to have questions about that on the next screen. I'm going to give you a chance to write that. So if you were not already in Canvas with me, I am going to ask you to go ahead and find the page. This is the only grade for today. I'm going to have you go to this page, and it's asking you to answer the 3 questions. First question is, what was your first impression or your ideas about this flipped classroom? So basically doing the notes at home and doing the practice in class. Number 2, what questions or what ifs do you still have about how the class this year will work? And number 3 is, tell me something that you like about this style of learning or something that you think might be a problem for you and why. If you're like, no, this isn't going to work for me. Tell me why. Let's talk about it. Right? The whole goal is for you to be successful. And if you don't think this can help you be successful, then we're going to find a way that will. And I just need you to communicate that with me. Okay? So why don't I ask the sub or a student, can somebody pause this video for about 2-3 minutes and have everybody answered that discussion board? Let's do this. If you cannot get in Canvas, okay? If you cannot get in Canvas, there is a tub back on the bookshelf. It is, let me turn this back real quick. Hold on. There is a tub back there on the bookshelf. It's clear with a white lid on it, and all it has is note cards in it. Can you grab a note card back there and write your name on one side? Remember the name that you go by, that you told me you go by, and your last name. And then answer those 3 questions on the back. So one more time, as soon as I'm done giving explanations, I'm going to ask you to pause this for about 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes until everybody's done. But here's your 3 questions. Number 1, what was your first impression? Question 2, what questions do you have? Question 3, tell me what you like about this style or what problems you see happening. Okay, so I'm going to have you pause it. Okay, if you've pressed play, every single person has answered this discussion question or turned in their note card to the teacher. If not, pause it again. Okay, so everybody should have done that. All right, so let's wrap up with a couple more things, like what Thursday and Friday are going to look like. So on Thursday you're going to take that algebra screener. If I can get it live in EduGents, you'll take it online. If not, I do have paper copies for you. So that'll be kind of depending on district. It's not a preference. We will be taking all of our EduGents tests or EduGents quizzes online because that's what STAR is going to look like. If there is not open, then you can take it on paper. Okay, that's going to be the only exception. Second thing you're going to do is after you finish that, so like in first and sixth period, you guys aren't going to have that much extra time. Your EduGents screener is probably going to take almost the entire class period. So you might only have 5 minutes for the second part. But my fifth period, you guys should have about 20 to 30 minutes to work on the second part. And the second part is you're going to go in Canvas. I'm going to show you in just a second. Sorry, puppy's in the background being sad. But you're going to go in Canvas, back in the modules. We're looking in that first week where it says welcome, and you're going to go to stations 2, 3, 4, and 5. You don't have to do any of this for homework. If you want to, you can always watch the video. but you don't have to do anything for homework. It's just using class time, okay? I'm trying to get as much stuff done as possible before I come back on Monday. That way we're making the most of our time because I didn't plan on being out for 3 days. So for instance, if you finish your beginning of the year screener, you're going to open up your fractions notes. Quick little video. Let's see how long it is. It's like 6 minutes. Yep, super short. And all you're going to do, I'm going to stop sharing real quick. You're going to go to the fractions section, which is on page 10. And the video is going to walk you through these problems. Now, let me be clear. You're not working on these 8 problems. That's not what this is. This is notes. I don't care if you are the greatest fraction solver on the face of the planet. You need to write the notes exactly like they're written on the video. That's the expectation. If you willy-nilly write it and you're missing things off the video, I'm going to give you a 0. You're going to send the email and you're going to watch the video again. So let's just get the scissors and cut that out from the beginning, okay? The point of that grade is that you're watching and copying it exactly like it looks, okay? Clear expectations. I'm telling you what I expect. That's what you're going to do, okay? If you finished only one video, awesome, bonus, not homework. If you only finished half a video, awesome, great, not homework. 5th period, you guys should be able to get through 3. Okay, that's kind of what I'm expecting from you. So you'll have 4 different videos total. You can work in whatever order you want, but you have a fractions one, an integer one, a distributing video, and a combining like terms. I purposefully do not have station 1 published because I don't want you doing that. We're going to work on that part on Friday, and I'll talk about that in just a second. So again, Thursday is the screener, seeing what you remember from 8th grade and what you already know from algebra, and then starting a couple of videos for your station. On Friday, I'm hoping to make another video kind of like this to talk you through for about 5-10 minutes at the beginning so you have exact instructions of what to do, not just a sub trying to tell you. So on Friday, the goal is that you are all going to send that parent email. So that's station 1. You're going to copy it right out of Canvas. You will have to send emails through your TCC, because what Grapevine Colleyville does is they block any emails out of district. So if you try to email your mom and she has a Gmail, it's not going to go to her. If your mom works for GCISD, then obviously, yeah. But if it is not, then it's going to block the email. She'll never get it. I'll never get it. It will just disappear into the world. So it's very important that when we're sending these, that you guys log into TCC, because that's going to be a grade. That's your Friday's grade is, did you send an email? If I don't get it, then you don't get the grade, right? So if you don't know your parents' email sometime between now and Friday, can you get that? Okay. If you want them to email you at your TCC email, you guys all have that. The sub, unfortunately, will not be able to give that to you because it's not going to be his access or her access in Skyward. Okay, so between now and then, I either need you to know how to find one parent, grandma, guardian, your adult person, whoever takes care of you. Find their email, either in your Skyward or get it directly from them. So we're going to send that email, and basically what it does is it says, in algebra, we're going to be sending emails to parents on behalf of the 3 of us, so teacher, student, parent. I'm going to be setting goals. I'm going to be communicating with you my test grades. Can we celebrate my successes and learn from my failures? Basically like that. You're going to set a goal. It's only for the first 9 weeks. So you're saying, like, my goal in this class is to turn in every homework assignment. Or my goal in this class is to never have to do homework. That was one of my favorite goals. They said, my goal is to always finish the video in class so I don't have homework. Maybe your goal is to pass every test. Maybe your goal is to retest every test. Ooh, I didn't talk about those yet. I gotta remember to do that. But basically one goal that you have and what your goal is for the letter grade. So my goal is to always turn in my homework and get a B for the class. Or my goal is to always retest if I can and get a C in the class. My goal is to just pass. Maybe that's your goal, and that's okay. We will change goals each 9 weeks, and that will be on you. We'll have conferences. There'll be instructions for how to do that every time. It's not just on you. The second thing we'll do on Friday is you will finish up your stations. So email should only take about, 10, 20 minutes, maybe, if you have a hard time logging in, but you should have the rest of time to watch the video. So By the time that I actually get back to class, by the time we all get to Monday, you should have 4 short videos all copied for fractions, integers, combining like terms, and distributing, which is all 4 videos count as 1 grade. That's 1 notes assignment. That's due on Monday when I get to class, okay? That's the only thing that's a grade. For Wednesday, like today, right now, you have that discussion telling me what you thought on the note card or in Canvas. Friday, you have 1 grade. That's the parent email. And Thursday, you have 1 grade, and that's the beginning of the year screener. If you only get 1 question right on that, your grade's not going to be the 5%. It's going to be a completion, okay? So my expectation from you on that is that you answer every question to the best of your ability, because I don't want you to get only 1 question right, and I stick you in 3 days of math tutorials each week and don't let you join any clubs when you didn't actually need that much help, okay? So do your best. Show me what you do know so I'm not wasting your time, okay? I think the only thing that we didn't cover, and I'm super sorry that I'm jumping around a little bit, I promise this is the last thing, was what grades look like in my class. So I'm super sorry. Let me go ahead and go back to that screen real quick. Okay, hopefully you can see over here where it says the Unit 3 example. If not, we'll talk about it later. But the Unit 3 example is you're going to have 2 quizzes, a test, an EduGents, which is going to count as a quiz grade, and then a possible retest if needed. So here's the first example. Let's say you get a 65 on the quiz, you get a 69 on the second quiz, and a 72 on the test. Here's the 2 things that we do in my class. Number 1, anytime your test grade is higher than a quiz, I can replace 1 quiz. So for instance, I would delete this guy. I'm going to make him black. And make him black. I would delete him, and your new score would be a 72. Wow. I didn't do that very well, sorry. There you go. Your new score, I would delete the old 65 and I would put a 72. Now, I'm not changing the 69 because you can only delete 1 quiz grade, okay? Now, a 72 in my class is something that you can retest. Anytime you get a grade under 80, I'm going to expect you to retake. Okay, we can retake up to an 80, which means that if you don't like this 72, which I don't, I'm going to ask you to retest, and you got an 82, but the maximum grade you can get is an 80. So that retest grade, whether it was an 82 or a 92, still only equals an 80, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put an 80 in for your test grade, and I'm going to delete out that old 72. So now your grades look like 72, 69, and an 80, okay? The last thing that we're going to have every class, or every unit, is an EduGents. I'm going to call it an EduGents test, but it is going to count as a quiz grade. That quiz grade is not changing, okay? So if you get a 90 on the test and a 30 on EduGents, that 30 is staying. Okay, that 30 is something that I need to know, and you need to know, parents need to know, and district's going to know for prepping for STAR. Okay, STAR pass rate in algebra is only a 40. That's what it has been for the last 10 years. We are redesigning STAR, so that number may vary a little bit based on how difficult it is this year, I guess. But 40 is going to be a quiz grade. Okay, 40 would be a passing score. We're going to have a lot of quizzes and a lot of assignments. So one tiny 40 is not going to impact your grade. It's not even going to change you by 1% in the long run. Okay, so I need us to understand that that quiz grade is going to stay in there. There's going to be no retakes on an EduGents, no replacing. That grade's going to stay. Okay, so one more time. You can replace a quiz with a test grade if it's higher. For a test, you can retake it up to an 80, but you can't earn higher than an 80, okay? All right, let me stop sharing. All right, guys, I think that's it. I know this is about a 40-minute long video, and you guys were pausing and listening to it in there. Again, I'm so sorry that I can't be there. Hopefully by Monday, we will all be at our 5 days since testing. That's the policy at the moment. So hopefully, if we are all symptom-free, I will be back. I might be masked, but I will be back my prayer is on Monday. So send good vibes my way. I'd love to return. I'd love to meet the last couple of y'all. I believe the only people I haven't met is Isabella Garza. I haven't met you, so hi Isabella. If that's not what you go by, I'm so sorry. I'll learn your name correctly. Dulce Ocampos, I'm excited to meet you. If that's not your name, I'm so sorry. Tell me your name when I come back. And then Kylie Epps and Evan Leash. I'm super excited to meet you guys. I hope it's going to be a great year. I know it's going to be a great year. I'm sorry it's starting off a little shaky, but we'll get there. 3 days in the grand scheme of things is not going to matter. So I hope you guys have a great weekend and do your best. Follow what the sub says. Behave. We're in high school now. We're technically in college now. Bye, guys.